In my recent video, I made a ridiculous JavaScript mistake. I forgot about for loops. Let me explain. All right, so this will be kind of a funny, entertaining video, at least for me, but I want to be like realistic with what programming actually looks like, especially when you have this perception of YouTubers. I think that people like myself that teach, that create content on YouTube and teach in other places with courses and stuff, they think that we know everything and we write perfect code and we never have to look things up. And that's 100% just not the case. What you get to see inside of YouTube is this really polished, edited thing. Sometimes like I will leave in some mistakes so that I can kind of show you how I walk through them, how I debug them, that sort of thing. But for the most part, what you get to see is a finished product. It's edited, it's polished. I will take out the majority of the mess ups, the when I misspeak, when I fumble on my words, when I pause, all that sort of stuff. And so I wanted to show a specific video to highlight something really honestly dumb that I did in a video recently. So I created this video, build an image gallery with vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which I was really excited about. This actually led into a part 2 video talking about image optimization and using ImageKit, which is really cool. But I built this thing, and in my head, there was 10 different images that I wanted to lay out on a grid. And instead of creating those individually inside of HTML, I figured, why don't I just create that in JavaScript so I could dynamically create them? That way I could kind of simulate if I'm pulling images from an API or something like that. This is how I could kind of simulate doing that. And so I started thinking like, all right, I'm going to have 10 different images. Somehow I need to iterate through the numbers 1 through 10 and create the image for them, which somehow then led me down the path of, okay, I need an array of these numbers so that I could iterate through that array. Now, I think I was kind of caught up on wanting to use this forEach syntax in JavaScript. So I really like the forEach syntax with arrays. To me, it's one of the easiest ways to iterate through items in an array. It's easier and cleaner to me to do this than to write an actual for loop. For loops are a little cumbersome. They take a little bit more time, not much, like they're fairly straightforward. Anyway, so I think in my head, I was wanting to use forEach, and I completely overlooked the fact that I didn't have to make up this array here. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to create an array of indexes or indices. I could just use a regular for loop. So this would look like for let, just to prove to you that I actually know how to do it. I is 1, while I is less than equal to 10, I plus plus. This would be the equivalent of this for each, but without having to declare this new array with these numbers of 1 through 10. And I completely overlooked the fact that I could use a regular for loop. Sometimes like you almost want to be too fancy with code that you overlook some of the basics. And that's exactly what I did here. And I had a couple of questions. One was, why did I have this selected index variable, which I didn't use? Well, that's because I had gone through like a couple of iterations of this demo. And originally I was using some sort of selected index, or I thought I was, and then I didn't end up using it. And the other question was like a very genuine, like I think this person was being very genuine. Why do we have the image indices array if we could just do a for loop? And I had to like pause and have this realization, like I really overcomplicated this, and I honestly created something that this is not the way. There's no reason you should create an array with these indexes if you then can do a regular for loop. So I think that person was genuinely asking, which is great. I think this is another reason why you should ask questions as you go through tutorials, as you sit through a lesson in school, as you watch YouTube videos. Ask those questions, because if you have that question, 1, most likely other people have the question too. And then 2, it could be a learning experience not only for you, but also the instructor or the content creator or whatever. So again, I just wanted to share like this idea that the stuff that we do on YouTube, like we're not perfect. We make mistakes in writing code. I completely blanked out on a for loop. This is one of the most basic things. One of the first things that you learn in programming is the for loop. And I completely overlooked using a for loop. And when the person said that comment, I was like, how ridiculous of a mistake is this? But I wanted to give like a realistic idea of like, sometimes this stuff happens, and I'm comfortable saying this, not because I don't know how to do a for loop, not because I don't know for loops exist, but I'm comfortable saying this because people make mistakes and you overthink some things sometimes. And that's okay. We're not all perfect. We're just out here try to do the best we can. But anyway, I thought it was a fun tutorial. Hopefully, if you go and check it out, you can get over those two mistakes. You can use a regular for loop, or you could learn a different way to do it with manually creating an array of indexes 1 through 10, which is a ridiculous way to do it, especially at scale. If you had 1,000,000, obviously you wouldn't want to do that. Anyway, so I hope that you enjoyed this short little video of kind of a correction or acknowledgement of me making a mistake in a tutorial. It happens. We're not perfect. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of ability to fight imposter syndrome, a little bit of confidence to know that as you're learning, as you make mistakes, we all do, and it's all good. So anyways, thanks for checking out the video. If you enjoy it, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. I do weekly videos on web development related topics, so I'd love to see you back in future videos. Thanks as always, and I'll catch you in the next one.